Price of fame.
It's lonely at the top.
Action.
And welcome to the Price of Fame
where we talk about fashion, art, music,
and entertainment.
I'm Savage Rogers.
I'm Mike Vegas.
And y'all know who we are by now.
Yeah, that's a fact.
We've been out here in the field for a while now.
Yeah.
Like over a year.
Over a year.
Over a year.
That's right.
A year and some months, yeah.
You know, it's kind of odd, man. Like, not really odd, but it's kind of strange, man. I was always told that you're supposed to, don't worry about the haters.
Right.
You're gonna get hate.
Right.
You know
You're gonna get hate.
People gonna say what they're gonna say, and I never really read the comments. But then you sent me something, and I'm looking at the comments, and I'm like,
you got a little charged up.
Because I'm like, how do they know anything? They don't know anything. So then I said, let me deep dive and do my research on who's hating.
Right.
I go to the page, and
6 followers.
6 followers.
Right.
1 follower, 2 subscribers,
right?
1 video they put up. That's it. Some of them didn't have any videos put up. So I said, "Oh, okay."
Right.
People that are ghosting me and just
right. Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, exactly. Keyboard warriors.
Keyboard.
So
what they don't understand about me though is that like I send it to you because I love it. Like,
Yo,
like I don't get mad. Like they don't realize that they be like, oh, I can say you can say anything, and it charges me up.
But Joe, you gotta have your facts together, man. They're making comments about a short that has. They don't know all the information.
Right.
Like when we did the
60-second short instead of deep diving into the entire video.
Exactly.
Where you can put the whole thing into context.
Well, we were talking about Mayweather and the 62 buildings that he bought. I was complimenting him, but then I was stating facts at the same time.
Right. We're talking about real estate.
Yeah.
Basically, like, you know what I mean? Like,
we are in New York City.
Right.
The majority of the buildings in Manhattan and the Bronx and Brooklyn are pre-war buildings.
Yeah.
That means that they were built before our parents were born.
It's true. It was like the 20s, the 1910s.
So if these buildings are that old, all 62 buildings are not going to be in the best shape.
No, you wouldn't get them for that price.
Yeah, you wouldn't get them that price.
Right, you wouldn't get them that price.
So, of course, he's going to have to do some things to some of those buildings. He might repair some of them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then he might do something else. But then we were complimenting Mayweather because Mayweather, outside, I don't know all celebrities and all their business, but he did more than most celebrities that are from New York has ever done. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's going to make it what you call that? What you call that when they only charge a certain kind of rent?
Oh, stabilized.
Like rent.
Stabilized, right.
I don't expect him to do that.
Nah,
but he did.
No one in New York City is doing that.
No one's doing that.
No
you can't
one's
do
doing
that.
You can't do it.
But he did buy something in New York. He's not from New York.
Right.
So I commend him on that. You know what I'm saying? But then the haters is like, oh, they probably don't own real estate.
Right.
Yes, I do own real estate.
Right. They don't know nothing about real estate.
They don't know nothing.
They talking about somebody in a different tax bracket.
Pocket watch. No.
Right. You can still know information.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't pocket watch. The only thing I am watching is Vivica Fox. Yeah.
We back on Vivica again.
Yeah.
It's not our fault this time.
I'm watching Vivica Fox because I have no choice.
So I'm not gonna lie. I was like, Mike, we can't keep doing this to Vivica.
A 60-year-old woman don't need her BBL.
Yeah, she got it done.
You don't need a BBL, baby.
She got it done. I saw 50 responded on it and was like, oh, Vivica got a BBL? He's like, let me see.
Exactly. Come on, man.
She had a party. She had a party to celebrate the BBL.
Oh, she had a party to celebrate the BBL?
That's what they said. I don't know if that's true.
I don't believe that, man.
I don't know. They said she had a party for the BBL.
It looked crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It looked crazy.
I don't know if I'm sure they do. So I can't say they don't, but I don't know if I ever heard of a 60-year-old getting a BBL before.
Come on, man.
It's a new day and age, though. I guess.
Honestly, man, listen. 60 is not old, but I don't want to see a 60-year-old woman in a BBL.
But what are you going to do with the BBL at 60?
You tell me that. You tell me. You tell me.
No, I seriously want to know, what do you do with? Because most of the time you get the BBL. Just keep it real. To be honest, you get the BBL because it attracts a certain type of person.
Of course.
So a lot of times, I started with like the IG models or people coming in like the Kardashians, like all these people who are trying to attract a certain type of energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even now, most of them got it taken out. So they removing theirs. Mm-hmm. Even I saw Amber Rose said she like removed hers, whatever the case may be. So they going back natural. And then you got the 60-year-old woman that say, you know what?
Yeah.
I need the BBL
natural
it up.
is exotic now, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And she going left. She look nasty, man.
She probably trying to get that 30-year-old.
Kevin Samuels probably rolling over like, yeah, see?
Like
You're doing everything I told you was going to do. You're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure he
Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
We have Mike Samuels in the building. He always got your back.
I'm just letting you know. Come on, Kevin's a guy.
But when I saw that, I was like, the first thing I did was send it to you. I'm not going to lie. I said, this can't be real. I was I was like, Mike is going to love this.
Of course, man. Like, come on, man.
Because you've been talking about it for the longest time. Like, like a certain age, like you was like, had certain standards or whatever you say you had.
Grow old gracefully. Now, it's just a couple of things I'm not going to say that I would like shun, I wouldn't shun it. It wouldn't, I don't think it would be shunned upon.
Like what?
If you got a double chin,
right?
You got loose skin right here, and you just want to tighten up, tighten up right here, or you got
that show. Remember that show? Nip tuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to get that done, then I can understand that, but that's not putting anything in. That's tightening things up. You know what I'm saying? If you got heavy bags on your eyes, and you want to take care of that. Right. Corners on your feet. You want to get those removed. That's something different.
Bunion, take the bunion off.
Bunions and stuff like that.
But they're going to say to you, what's the difference? Because it's still surgery.
No, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. You're still going to grow old gracefully.
Right.
You're going to grow old gracefully. But a corn is not going to stop you from growing.
Right, but you can't do the breast implants at 65 and the BBL at 60.
Man. Come on.
I just don't know what you're going to do with it.
I know they say 30 is a new, 40 is a new 20.
Yeah. Well, Jay-Z said that a long time ago. I don't think no one says that anymore.
Well, 60. What is 60?
Well, now 60, I guess is it's no now. I guess with the new generation, there's like no age limitations on anything. So now age just doesn't exist.
No.
Even with everything.
Age exists.
Yeah, even when it comes to like the golden era of hip hop, where they were saying that Jim Jones is the oldest YN. You know what the YN is? The young N word. Yeah. They say he's the oldest. You know what I mean? Because he's like what, in his 50s, however old.
He's almost 50.
Yeah, 50. I think he's 50. However old he is,
something like that.
Yeah, but they're saying like he's too old to be doing that. But then on the same token, there's a lot of people, even the YNs are saying he's not. It's it's not like the old days of how like grandparents and great grandparents, like you can do whatever you want. So he can still rap, he can still, wear baggy clothes, he can still, be on the block. They saying it's like, so I guess Vivica the same thing. Vivica's like, oh, if Jim Jones can still hang on the block in Harlem, I can get a BBL. BBL Drizzy. BBL.
Nah, man.
Well, yeah,
I'm not buying
I don't know if Rick Ross said your man's had one too. He said your man Drake got one.
I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that.
But I guess that's what it is. So Vivica's like, I'm 60, but but there's no age limitations to anything anymore. So I'm 60. I can get me a 30-year-old with the BBL because she done passed up all the men in her heyday. So now she got to spin the block one last time.
So you know how I compare her to? She's like, a married woman would be like a person who just signed a record deal with Universal or Warner Brothers or Atlantic.
Yeah.
Got a major deal. I'm talking about a major deal. And then there's an independence.
Okay.
She's independent coochie. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants her. Nobody wants her. So she said, I gotta go independent. I gotta see what I can do.
I guess she ain't got that major push no more. She ain't putting out them movies.
Exactly.
And she was on that major with the movies.
You know what I'm saying?
But one thing about that, they already know who she is.
You know why they know who she is? Because she's doing car shield commercials.
Because she was doing, what was it? What was it with Morris Chestnut? What was that movie?
I can't remember.
Two Can Play That Game? Was that the movie? I don't know. Then she was in Soul Food.
How long ago was that, man? Because
That's
we're
what
talking
I mean.
about right now. She's doing car shield commercials.
That's what I mean. That's why, she's spinning.
Not Halle Berry.
She said she can drop independent now because she's was on a major. Because she was on a major, so now she can come out independent. What do you feel about that? Like, for artists, what do you feel like music artists now, hip hop artists, like R&B artists, pop artists? Is it better to be independent or is it better to sign to a major? In your opinion?
In my opinion, it depends on where you're at.
What does that mean?
Career-wise, where you're at. If you're starting out and you're the beginning or you're a beginning artist and you don't know too much, because let me tell you something, being independent is not a good or bad thing. It's just a thing. The reason why I say that is you could be independent and have 100% of nothing. Right?
That's how I feel.
I'm independent. I put my record out every week and I'm independent, and you ain't doing nothing. Right. Or you could say, listen, I'm a new artist. I'll sign a record deal. No record deal is to perpetuity. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's not forever.
Life. It's not for life.
So you sign a deal, you do what you have to do, and then when the deal is over, if you succeeded in doing what you had to do, then you have the option of going independent or
signing
major.
back. Right.
You have the option. Some artists, like the what's the dude from Chicago?
Which one?
Who's the guy
Chief
from Chicago?
Keef?
No.
Oh, Chance the Rapper. Shout out to Chance the Rapper.
Chance the Rapper.
Shout out to my man Chance the Rapper.
We're going to speak about Chance. We're going to speak about Chance. And then it's another guy from Atlanta. He's Italian.
From Atlanta? What's his name? Not Ross.
Yeah, it starts with an R.
Yeah, Russell.
Russ.
Yeah, Russ.
So these guys, they'll have you thinking that, you don't need a manager. You don't need a label. You don't need a publishing company. You don't need anything. Matter of fact, you could hire your manager and have him work for salary.
Right.
Let me tell you something.
What salary? What's salary if you ain't making no money?
How do you equate what a manager deserves?
Right. I guess
I'm with you every single day.
Every day. I guess they're gonna find them a manager that they can pay by the hour.
Yeah.
And guess what? Your career's not gonna take off.
No.
Because that's not the way it works.
It's in the manager's best interest to make sure you're good. Because if you're good, he's good.
Right.
But if you're paying him a salary, like he works in Taco Bell or something.
Right. Then to be honest, if I'm the manager, right? If I'm getting paid by the hour, or if I'm getting paid a salary, I need to stay on as long as possible and work as less as possible. Like
first of all, do I get overtime? Like, how do you equate what the salary is?
Right.
I'm with you every day. I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm the first, line of defense. I'm right there every single day. And you're gonna tell me that you're gonna put me on salary? Nah, bro, we're gonna break that down in percentages.
Right.
I deserve
That's
percentages.
the best way to do it.
Anybody, I deserve percentages. You could pay an independent promoter, independent marketing company. You could pay a lot of independent people. You know what I'm saying? A publicist. You could pay all that, but not no manager.
Right.
And then Russ and Chance will tell you, oh, no, you don't need anything. Just do it yourself. But that's not true because Chance had a manager when he came in. The white kid, I don't know his name, but he had a manager. And then I guess they fell out, or I don't know what the position they're in right now.
And shout out to Chance's stylist.
They're not together.
She's super cool.
And now he's independent or whatever. Yo, they giving people bad information. You gotta do what you feel best fits you at that moment. Yeah. Because first of all, look at this. You could be independent. You don't have no money. You could be independent. You don't have money to promote yourself.
Right.
Or market yourself.
Yeah.
You got to pay for radio. People
don't know that. Radio's expensive.
You got to pay for TikTok. You think these artists have millions of TikToks
just because they made one viral video?
One viral video, then they're paying hundreds of TikTokers to make that video go viral. Right. For them to make that song go viral.
Right.
It's a business.
Yeah.
And you don't want to give the label a percentage, because I'm like in between. I'm for the artist, but then I understand the label.
Right, because this conversation just came up because Jermaine Dupri was saying like it came back because we done spoke about it a few times. Because because both of us like been in music before, so we done spoke about it a few times. But he brung it up. He was like, you know, what's the pros of being an independent artist? Like, why does what do you get out of being an independent artist? And then he was saying that he was naming basically all the records he put out independently, and a lot of the artists we don't even know. We don't even know who they are because a lot of them. That's what happened. When you get the big label pushes when you know who they are, and then you can come back and after that go independent. Like Luda could go independent. You know what I mean? Like it's certain artists that
50's independent.
Independent.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people are independent. Tyrese is independent.
Right. But the thing about it is how far what 50 had got, right? With no Columbia in the beginning, and then after that with no Dr. Dre. With no Jimmy Iovine and with no Eminem, he probably would have been a great artist. It would have fizzled away after a while, right? But it wouldn't have been to that magnitude because you got that just like a UMG with a Drake, you know, because you got that big label backing in the beginning. They want to make their money. They gave you a certain amount of money. Once you take that money, a lot of times, like people say, everyone gets mad because they're like, the only check I saw was that first label check, which I get it. So you're upset like that. I only got the advance.
But see, they telling you half the story. They're not telling you when they go into the label begging for money all the time, and the label gives them the money. And you think the label giving this for free? They gotta make all the
marketing dollars that the label's putting into them, to their career. As your career's going on. It takes a lot of money
to put out an artist.
Takes a lot of money to put out an artist.
You know what I'm saying? But then they don't want to tell you all that. Man, look, Jermaine Dupri was right.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And Steve Stout, to some degree, he's right. But Steve Stout, he was on the other side at one point.
Right.
And he was making a lot of money for these labels.
Right.
So it's kind of in between. It's like you can't tell a person not to sign to a record company. A lot of these dudes are not that smart. And a lot of dudes don't have the
financial backing.
The work ethic
even do it.
To really grind out. And they don't have the patience. And if you're going to be an independent artist, you have to be patient.
For sure. Because you know how many artists I done bumped into that's like independent and they're like, oh, I've been doing this for 5 years, I'm about to quit. Like it don't always happen overnight. It takes a constant day in, day out. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
And then when you think you hit your pinnacle of your career, bro, you're only on the Eastern market. Nobody knows you in California.
Right.
Or nobody knows you in Belgium or Germany.
We gotta go to our celebrity host. Paul, what do you think? Independent or major? What's your take on it?
I agree with everything y'all saying, especially for the fact that if you don't have the means and the resources and the finances to put your stuff in the market on a certain level, the most you're going to be is regional. We talked about this before we started filming, Shook. We talked about an artist, amazing artist, who has been around for a little while and even has some affiliations by A-list artists, but still needs to have the resources and the capital to make an impact on a certain level. Then he'll be taken seriously. He's just as talented as some A-list artists.
Yeah.
But without marketing, keyword, marketing.
And think about this. The way 360 deals are formatted to these days, a 360 deal, right? It's in their best interest to make sure you make a lot of money. So you get a
100%.
hit, not even a sizzling hit. I'm talking about a hit. And they're gonna make sure it's on every movie, every commercial, every video game, every highlight of basketball, football,
I don't want to cut you off, but I want you to remember that thought. So, and this is where I think the term comes from, that people don't get industry plant. So people always talking about industry plants. So it's not an industry plant, it's me and you on a record label. We have a record label and we just spent $1 million on this artist. So, and we have this artist signed into a 360 deal. So it's in our best interest that this artist works.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put this artist in your face everywhere I can. Every award show, the Grammys, the BET Awards, the MTV Awards, every commercial they can do, every radio interview they can do, every Price of Fame podcast they can do. They're gonna be on the podcast. They're gonna be everywhere that I can put them. I'm gonna put them. So to the public, you might be thinking like, MC such and such doesn't have this much talent to always be in our face.
Yeah.
So it has to be the government or somebody put them here. Yeah, I put them here because I spent all this money to get them here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure that they're on every single platform they can be on. They have to pop. So that's the industry plant. I need you to pop. I need my money back.
But who made that term up? I'm trying to figure out where did it come from.
I don't even. It came out of nowhere.
Like that term just came out of. I don't know who made that term.
But I think that's what it is. They saw people that like artists that they feel like
they're not worthy of being
worthy of being where they are. So they're like someone planted them here. They did. The person who invested all the money.
Who's the white kid with the curly hair?
Which one? Not Little Dicky.
No, Little Dicky nice. He's nice.
Yeah, I like Little Dicky.
The white kid with the curly hair. He just came out.
Jack Harlow.
Jack Harlow. They said he was an industry plant. But Jack Harlow's all right. I like Jack Harlow to some degree.
But
Jack Harlow's dope.
Yeah, he is.
Dope.
But
Jack
just say, right, that I discovered Jack Harlow.
Who?
Just say I discovered Jack Harlow, right?
Yeah.
I discovered Jack Harlow. I think he's dope. Is he the dopest person out? To you, he might not be. But guess what? But I have the money that I need to put him in everybody's face. I need him to get every award. I need him to do everything he can do. Because I need my money back. He needs to get paid. His family needs to eat. My family needs to eat. So we're going to make sure that he's getting represented correctly.
He knows how to play the game.
Right.
You can't. I notice a lot of artists, once they get to a certain level, it's like, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing this. You know why they saying that? Because they got 3 or 4 of their friends and some outsiders telling them, like, yo, why are you doing that? Don't do that because what's his name didn't do this and you see how his career went and this and that. Right. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? You are business partners with the label.
100%.
They are trying their best to make sure you sell. Now, will everything they say, will it work? Maybe not.
No.
But we're just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Right.
But they're putting the bank behind you to make sure it wins.
Right. But that's the thing about it.
They don't want to lose.
And that's the thing about it is they don't want to lose. So that's why when people be like, oh, I wouldn't sign to a major. I get it. You want to be independent. You want to control your entire career.
Be independent.
But that major is going to make sure that they do everything they can do.
Come on, be independent.
That you make it because they want their money back.
Well, you ever notice how
I'm gonna tell you about me. So I'm gonna tell you a story about me. So I was signed one time to me and my cousin. We were signed to EMI. So we were signed to EMI, but we were signed to an independent label called Slot Time. Slot Time was signed to EMI, whatever the case may be. Slot Time gave us $10,000 for the signing bonus. My cousin was like, "You can keep this $10,000. We can't do nothing with it." We had a manager. The manager's like, you know what? You ain't got to do what they say. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. So as time passed, that nothing was happening with our career. So I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, what do you mean what's going on? Like, we're not putting nothing behind you. Because when you look from the outside of how the music business is supposed to work, and we was super young. I think I was 17. So you look from the outside and you look on the inside how it's supposed to work. You think it's glitz and glamour. And I'm supposed to be in a, and now like a Rolls Royce. So I'm supposed to be riding in a limo and they supposed to have me at every show. But it's really not like that. In real life, it's really not like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you in there like demanding stuff and then the independent label doesn't have the money to put into you like that. So it's not even EMI's fault. We signed to the independent. The independent is signed to EMI. So all EMI wants to do is recoup their money. So EMI never recouped their money from us. We had 4 singles, never came out. EMI shelved them. And my cousin passed away. Yeah, so my cousin died, and that's how I got out of the record deal. Slot Time was like, you don't have a group anymore. You got signed as a group. That's another thing, too. It depends on how you sign the deal. We signed as a group. Part of the group's missing. It's no group. So I didn't do music for I was like, I'm never doing music again. That was my whole thing. But then after that, I went to school for law. And then I learned about contracts and entertainment, how to read contracts. And it made me look at the business completely different. But so people don't understand it from that side. They just understand it from the side of independent and major. But it's a big difference between independence and a major. Independence, even if you're the independent or if you sign to an independent, they don't have that money to make a major push. So you can do whatever you want. Like, we could do whatever we want. We could put out whatever songs we want.
Yeah.
We could do whatever shows we want. But guess what? You didn't know who I was.
Exactly.
No one knew who I was.
And think about this: how many people that were on major labels? I'm talking about executives, presidents of labels, big artists that were on major labels. When they fizzle away and they know the business, they're very seasoned in the business, right? How many of them blow up by themselves all over again? Very few.
Very few.
Very, very few. I have yet to see an artist go independent and just blow up the same way they were when they had a major label. Because let's keep it real. The record company is a publicly traded company, Universal.
Right.
So they're using investors' money. They're not using their personal money to put out there. So when you're independent, you're putting your own personal money up. And can you take a chance of losing $250,000 just like that?
No way.
It didn't work? Oh, it didn't work. We got to go back to the drawing board.
Right.
And put another $250,000.
Right. And I think that's what artists don't understand too. Like I put all this
money.
money.
And I'm just talking about for radio.
Right. I put all this money into your career. Why don't you think I'm supposed to make money off you?
But that's the thing.
Right.
That's another thing.
You go work
put
for
the money up.
Right. You go work for your company, or you go work for whoever. Right. They just give you an hourly rate. How much money do you think they make?
Exactly.
How much money does that company make? A lot of money off of you, because they have to keep the whole company running.
Yeah.
So they make a lot of money. So it's the same thing. So you're complaining because now you're an artist and you feel like you're supposed to be like up here and you're supposed to get all this money, but it doesn't work like that.
But you know what's so crazy? I feel like if you're that hot, right? If you're an artist, right, and you're making that much noise, if you sign to a major label and they know that you're hot, then you could say, you know what? Yeah, I'll sign a deal with you with stipulations.
Right.
You can't get none of my merch. And you're not going to touch my shows.
Right.
Everything else we is negotiable. But these two you can't touch. You ain't going to touch my merch, and you're not touching my show money.
Right. You know how much you're going to make off that?
So you're going to do shows, and you're going to get paid off of shows anyway.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, you got to play the game. You can't be getting in trouble. You can't be doing dumb stuff. You got to show up for radio interviews and any kind of interviews. You got to, you know what I'm saying? You got to do the little phone interviews with bloggers or whatever you got to do. You got to do.
Right.
Don't get big-headed. These are all the things you got to do when you're in a major, because they're going to put all this stuff in your face in one day. You might do 4 or 5 interviews in one day.
Right. 2
of them might be on the phone, through Skype, or whatever the case may be. Yep. Then you might do 3 radio. You got to do this little TV show. You got to do, and then you got to go do a show.
Right.
But you might not want to be. You're not gonna. First of all, you won't have the contacts to do all of that if you're independent. And if you do, and if you do, are you going to be that focused? Because you're a boss now. I'm a boss. I'm a CEO. Are you going to be that focused to make every single thing happen?
But it still costs a lot of money just to do those things.
True indeed. Oh, I forgot about, you got to take a flight over here. You got to take a flight over there.
That's expensive because that's coming out of your pocket.
You know what I'm saying? You got to do all that. It's so many layers to this that they don't understand.
Right. So you paying for flights. You paying for gas.
It's not just for you. It's not just for you. Think about it.
Right, because you ain't by yourself.
You got to pay for you. You got to pay for your DJ. You got to pay for your your
hotels.
Manager. You got to pay for a hotel. You got to pay. And if you go to a hotel, you ain't staying in a nice hotel.
Right.
You're staying in the Red Roof Inn or something. You know what I'm saying? I'm being real. You're staying in the Red Roof Inn.
Right.
When I was on tour with Luda, bro, I stayed in the best hotels. The best. All over. The best hotel. Top-notch hotels. So I know that these, you know what I'm saying? If you're independent, you're not doing it.
And what's crazy is that's a whole thing too. So even with Luda, like Tim had him first, right?
Tim who?
Timbaland.
What?
Didn't he like have Luda first? Like he
no,
like a production deal or something?
No.
No, he didn't.
He
Okay.
did a song with Luda.
Okay.
He did a song with Luda. He didn't. No.
Because I know he was even saying something like, well, I guess he was just saying like it was no point of me signing Luda because I know that what the Mazes could do with him.
Yeah.
The same thing with Trey Songz. He didn't sign Drake.
But
because he's like what? Because I have an independent label. Well, what can I actually do with him? He needs to go to a major.
Yeah.
You know, people don't understand that. Like the biggest artists, they go to majors because the label really pushes them. And I love independent. So I'm not saying that you know what I mean, you can't be independent or you shouldn't go independent, but you just got to make sure your business is in order and that you have the capital to to be independent.
So Paul, you may know better than me. I did a couple of distribution deals before, but I don't think I did as many as you. But
Right.
as far as distribution, you sign. Just say, for instance, I'm independent. I'm putting out just say Warner Blow in distributions. So I'm signing to Warner Blow distributions, right?
What? You said, hold on. You said what?
Warner Blow.
Want to blow what?
Want to blow.
Blow up.
Oh, okay.
Don't distract them.
You're funny. I like that though. That's good. Yeah. So you sign a distribution deal
To want to blow records.
Yeah, whatever. So actually, it was a label called Wanna Blow. Shout out. But anyway, so you sign a deal. You sign a deal with them, a distribution deal. You put out 70 records, 70 singles with them, and about 3-4 albums. 70 singles and 3-4 albums, and then all of a sudden, that fourth album you put out with them blows up, and then Atlantic Records want to sign you.
Right.
You know that distribution company is attached to all of those records?
Right.
Contractually, they're attached to all of those records.
Yep.
And then people are telling you to sign all these deals. Yeah, sign. They're patient.
Right.
They're going to sit back and wait because you know what's going to happen? As soon as that fourth album blow or that fourth single go
Take
10
off.
million,
Right.
you know what people going to do? They're going to be like, yo, what else
they got?
What else he got? And then there's all of a sudden now sales are going to start coming in because now people are starting to spend.
Right.
Now Spotify, you got $1 million on there, $1 million spends on that one,
Right.
$5 million on this one, $6 million on that one. Videos that you put out
They're looking
3
for
years
YouTube
ago that never
videos,
even got
yeah.
anything is got about 67 million. But who owns the distribution? They own
Warner
a piece
Blow.
of your distribution. Warner Blow.
Want to blow.
And if you have a contractual agreement with them, then the major has to buy them out
Of course.
Yeah.
to pick you up.
Exactly. And they're not going to do that. They're going to be okay. You're dependent on the, you know what I'm saying? Depending on
the magnitude of the artist.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on.
Otherwise, it's like the major does a partnership with the independent that you're signed to. And you
Right.
can't do nothing about it.
Exactly. They
Right.
are going to do it. Why would you do? Why would I do that? I'm distributing your record for a reason, not to make money. I'm giving you an opportunity to spread your music all over the world, so to speak, right? But then when you sign with a major deal label, oh no, I'll sign. Yo, you could sign with them. But I want a percentage.
And what's crazy is
I'll take a small fraction.
what you said is a good thing because I think that people don't think about that either. Even if you're independent, you still need a distribution deal. It has to go out through somewhere, right?
And then
Unless now you're gonna do it yourself.
I ran into a problem with somebody wanted to use some music, and they red flagged it. I told them, I said, yeah, Paul, you could use the music, and then they red flagged it. I said,
Right.
yo, I'm telling you, you could use it. They had to lift that off to allow them. I'm like, yo, do I own my music?
Right.
Like I got a partner now.
Right.
So
You got a
either way,
partner.
you got a partner.
Yep. Either way, you got a partner.
You got a partner. So it's crazy, man. So I don't. It's weird, man. It's real. Like I said, man. Jermaine Dupri was right.
Yeah, so-
and Steve Stout was right.
So to end this off, we're gonna go around the room. We're gonna ask the question. We're gonna start with Paul.
Yes, sir.
Baby Paul, independent or major?
I operate independently because I'm forced to, but I would rather deal with a major. That's my honest truth.
Okay. Mike Vegas, independent or major?
I'll go major,
Okay.
and then independent after I get my. If I had Drake money,
Facts.
Jay money,
Right.
Nas money,
50 money.
50 money,
Right.
Nicki Minaj money, Cardi B money.
So
I would go because I already got a fan base.
Right.
You know, yo, I'm gonna tell you something. Check this out. How much is the album right now?
Streaming numbers,
we don't know.
yeah.
No
I'ma
one
tell you
buys
something.
But they
albums on-
wait,
I'ma tell you.
wait. They do have the Apple.
You don't have a.
download option. It's
If
still
I would
you
do
have-
it,
you still have
you
it
can't even.
download.
I wouldn't even let you download my single. You gotta buy the album. If I'm that big, you gotta buy my album. You know why? I would do it like this: 100,000 records times $10. It's $1 million, right?
Right.
direct to consumer.
That's $1 million. You telling me Beyonce can't sell 100,000 records? You telling me that?
Yeah.
You telling me she can't sell 500,000 records? She just made, come on, just like that.
Yeah. The problem is I don't think that's money to Beyonce.
No. You're missing the point. I'm trying to say What I'm trying to say is,
If you already have the fan base.
If you already have the fan base, every time you do a show or a tour, you might sell 50,000 records.
Right. It's true.
You might sell. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you how you can get really, really, really like. If you put in with the ticket sales, you get a hard copy record. You get you know what I'm saying. You'll get a free digital download with ticket sales. Because some people selling 100,000, 100,000.
It's true. You just
listen.
add the price into the ticket.
This is my deal. If you want to sign me Live Nation, you want to sign me to a tour deal, you have to $10 of that ticket sale. So if you're selling tickets for $70, what's the name? Sell it for $80. $10 of that is going to be a free download for my record sale.
We should have said this.
I go
you
on
shouldn't
tour,
have said this on camera. You just gave some. You just gave them
you
some free
automatically,
game.
Yo, Prince
you
did that.
automatically sell the
Yeah,
record.
Prince did do it, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Every time you go, what's the name? You're buying every time I do a show. So if I fill up an arena for 20,000, I just sold 20,000 records.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? 20,000.
Yeah.
So it's ways of going about it, but you got to have a fan base, a strong, loyal fan base, man.
Yeah,
I went to see Anita Baker. When I tell you, her fan base spanned from 70s all the way down to the early 20s.
Yeah, it's Anita Baker.
From gay to straight to white, black,
amazing.
Chinese.
Right.
I'm in the what's that theater in Jersey? Prudential.
Oh,
the
Prudential
Prudential
Arena.
Center.
Yeah. I'm up in there and I'm like, wow, it was packed.
That's
But
crazy.
she has a strong, loyal fan base.
Right.
So she can go independent. And people are going to buy it because they
Yeah.
love Anita Baker.
So me, I would go independent. I would go independent if
Huh?
I didn't care about the money. So I would go independent if I just want to, be an artist and want to put out my artistry and I'll just be a starving artist. I don't care nothing about the money. I can be broke or whatever the case may be.
What's your definition of starving artist?
A starving artist is I'm making ends meet, but I get to put out whatever music I want. I get to say whatever I want,
That's
do whatever
dedication.
I want.
I don't know if I want to be a starving
I
artist.
said that's that's the only way I want to be.
Sleeping on somebody's couch.
That's the only way I want to be independent. If I'm making, I might be making 6 figures a year. I might get 100,000 off of it, but that's nothing.
That's not a starving artist.
That's a starving artist.
No, that's not. You bugging?
That's a starving artist.
No, that's your definition. That's not a starving artist. Starving artist is starving, bro. Great papaya hot dogs.
Yeah, I
on
mean,
a good day.
I mean, I feel what you're saying, but
That's
I'm saying
starving
if
artist, bro.
I was like,
You crazy.
If
You
I was
bugging
going
out right now.
independent,
100,000?
that's how I would want to go independent. Yeah, 100,000. That's the way I would want to go
We might as well
independent.
do this right now. If you're making 100,000,
But if I was doing major, I would, the major deal is going to be where the money is. Because that way you're going to get, like you said, you're going to get exposure. I'm going to get the tours. I'm going to get the merch. I'm going to get the label just behind me, pushing me and pushing me and pushing me.
they're going to get money. They're going to make their money.
Yeah, they're going to make their money.
But
So
do
if
you-
I didn't care about the money, I would go independent. I do care about the money, so I would go major. And that's the price of fame. When we talk about fashion, art, music,
And entertainment.
and we out of here.
Definite.
Yes, sir.
My man.